be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, see. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Hey, it's Jesse Blaze Snyder here. How you fucking doing? We're just coming off of Thanksgiving. Thank you for giving me this show. Thank you for giving me this platform. I am so fucking grateful to all of you people out there who listen to me every week, twice a week. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm back in New York, mostly full-time with my baby, so I was just happy to be with my kids for Thanksgiving. It's been so awesome, and I've had a great week. I'm just gearing up to finish off my Kickstarter for King of Kings, like actually get the books printed. We got our t-shirts in the mail. So excited. And we're about to launch our next Kickstarter for our book called Fucking For Our Future, which is very, 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 very funny, and I'm really excited to share with you about it, but I won't talk about it too much because it's not quite up yet. I got censored for our title, so I have to go back and I have to mess around with a bunch of the different images and whatnot to censor them properly for the image. It's an adult comedy. It's very, very funny. I really think people who find anything that I do in this on this show humorous may enjoy it. And I really believe that at this stage of the game, I know how to do this stuff. I know how to make a great comic book. The comic book medium lends itself to certain things, and it really needs to be executed lovingly by somebody or some people who know the medium and know how wonderful a good page turn is and a good cliffhanger is. And Fucking For Our Future and all the books that I produce with my company, they really, we know how to do this stuff. So I hope you'll check it out when the time comes. But today, I've come here to talk, to celebrate. I wanted to rank 10 FANDOM MENACE victories to celebrate in addition to the Marvel's historic box office flop. Now, for those of you guys who have been paying attention, I mean, what we're seeing right now is essentially the death of Marvel Studios. The only thing they now have on the schedule is one movie releasing next year. It's Deadpool 3. This is a Fox production, essentially. This is them pulling Deadpool into the Marvel Universe, a transitional film. And, I don't know what to expect from it. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be good. It's got Hugh Jackman Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds in it. I think it's going to be good. Will it be the type of thing that can push us through to the other side and keep Marvel Studios going for the long term? I don't know. And, number 11 on our list here, just to kick things off, is The Marvels. The Marvel is the culmination of the Kevin Feige era. And actually, it's not the era, it's the Kevin Feige error. And one of the major mistakes that was made at the back end of Phase 3 was Captain Marvel abandoning her comic book origins and being given a new origin that didn't really matter, was neither here nor there, wasn't anything of significance to the people watching, and it wasn't what they had grown up reading or any version of it. And we were all very ticked off about it. At the time, Captain Marvel, there was a lot of reports that even though Captain Marvel made $1 billion, that Disney had gone out of its way to buy up theaters, and a lot of the theaters that were playing Captain Marvel and getting all this money were empty. A lot of empty theaters ended up watching Captain Marvel. Well, also, it was sandwiched in between Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. If you couldn't have had a better place to start, that's the one. So every single storyline that started from that Captain Marvel movie ultimately ends up getting repudiated in multiple ways here. And I mean, maybe I'll should I change my order of my list ever so slightly? What did I do here? Where did I get that one? Okay, you know what? I'm going to change my order, okay? So Marvel Studios dies with the Marvels. The Marvels made less money. It made under $55 million, which $55 million was the bottom for The Incredible Hulk. Now, that's a superficial bottom because The Incredible Hulk came out 20 years ago now. So inflating that money that it made and counting how many tickets it sold far more tickets and made far more money than the Marvels has by comparison. Even though the Marvels is only like, let's say 6 million less. I think it was like 49 or 47 or something like that. It's under 50 million that it made at the box office, in America. It did do a very good worldwide, and it looks like, I mean, they're going to lose a lot of money on this movie. Based on a lot of underground projections, this movie has spent maybe close to $400 million at the top, somewhere between like 300 and 400 million. And it seemed as though they really ramped up the advertising of the film as it got closer to try to compensate for the fact that it seemed like it was tracking very badly and that nobody was actually going to go see it. So literally years of like the first thing that the fans really pushed back against, and they didn't listen. They were like, yeah, whatever. No big deal. Those are just these old school fans who expect things to be a certain way. All this nostalgia, all this blah, 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 blah. Do we really have to cater to these people? And then they made all of their announcements that was coming after Avengers Endgame and going to build the Marvel Universe moving forward. And the audience kind of went, all right, well, maybe that could be hopeful and maybe that could be hopeful. But Jesus, there's a lot of things on this list here that don't excite me. I don't think these things are going to be very successful for you. Now, The Marvels 2 has the continuation of Sam Jackson's story after 2 terrible bits. I'm going to get to number 10 in a second, which is the collapse of the viewership for all the Star Wars and Marvel programs on Disney+. One of those being Secret Invasion, which I could tell you the origins of that start with Sam Jackson's origin of his missing eye being revealed in the original Captain Marvel, and it turning out that it was a cat. A cat scratched his eye. So from the dialogue about trusting somebody, like this is like to remind me not to trust people or whatever, he was trusting a flurkin. There was a cat that he trusted for a minute, and he got scratched, and he's cleverly making himself look badass. But like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. If this movie's results right here, if the lack of excitement, the lack of energy, the fact that 65% of the audience was men, 65% of the audience was men, you failed. You failed at everything you were trying to do here. My 14-year-old daughter, I turned to her after the trailer played for the Marvels, and I said, hey, honey, any interest in that? What do you think? And she literally just looked at me like she wanted to throw up and went, yeah, oh my God, what are they putting out? This is a 14-year-old girl, okay? This Captain Marvel movie you made it for her. Every meeting you've had, every discussion that you've had for the past 15 years was talking about getting my daughter in. Granted, you would have had my daughter already because I was on your side. Now, it's no, we got to change. We got to change the whole thing so we can get in this whole new audience. And they have indeed changed their boy brand into a girl brand. They brought as many elements into the boy brand that are not traditionally associated with it, that are more traditionally associated with girl brands. And they've done a poor job at doing the girl brand stuff within the boy brand stuff. So they haven't made the boy brand, the hybrid thing, into something successful. My daughter doesn't like it. The thing about boy brands, when they're done well, is girls like them too. Girls like boy brands when they're handled correctly. And boys like girl brands when they're handled correctly. Everybody likes anything when it's handled correctly. All you have to do is honor the thing, be good to the thing. So here we are after Avengers Endgame and all this big shift as we do get into the Kevin Feige era, and he's given all the credit. That man is creatively bankrupt. He's got nothing. Clearly nothing. I know who was on the list of the creative council, the creative committee that was at Marvel Forever, from Joe Quesada and Jeff Loeb on down. It was loaded with writers. Really good writers. Writers who I will read any comic book that they read. Craig Kyle, Jeff Loeb, Joe Quesada. If they want to write something or draw something, well, only Joe Quesada is an artist in that equation. I will read anything they write. Brian Michael Bendis has lost a little bit of his charm. Mark Millar hasn't. But these are all some of the people who have been a part of this board. They know these characters. They know what people have enjoyed in the past. That is the important thing. The important thing is to listen to the people who are writers, who are creatively a part of this process and know what people have enjoyed traditionally in the past and have at least some suspicions about what they might enjoy in the future moving forward. Leaving it to Kevin and Victoria Alonso, who, man, just going by Victoria Alonso's quotes, you just see where her motivation is. She's just all about terraforming the planet in a Hispanic image. Oh, yes, let's get somebody in here who's not white. Oh, he's white? He's white? Well, then I don't want to hear from him. He's white? Oh, no. Listen, dude, that's fucking racism, all right? And racism, you're being racist towards me. It's fucking ridiculous. And let me just tell you right now, you're a fool if you don't listen to what I have to say because I'm white. You're a racist fool. This is just the stupidest fucking thing ever. It's suggesting as if every white person on planet Earth is racist. And I'm not. Thanks so much for telling me. You're going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh my God, you're racist because you're white and you've got all of this unbeknownst racism to you. Fuck you. I don't even think about this shit until you brought it up. You're the one. All right? I just woke up on planet Earth in the United States and I'm doing the best that I can living with everybody else. And I'm dealing with depression and anxiety and chronic pain and all of the other things that everybody else deals with on planet Earth before you even enter in their stupid race into the equation. All right? It's just so stupid to put all your eggs in that basket and to start having this conversation as if I know what the problem here. It's all these people. No, whatever amount of white people is great if they're not racist and if they're open and we're demonstrating an open world that is clear and giving and forgiving and all these other things. You can get the greatness of a wonderful all is one planet from a white guy. You can get it from a black guy. You can get it from a lady. You can get it from a boy. It doesn't matter where you get it from. It's about changing the attitude. It's about changing the atmosphere. It doesn't matter if they're white or they're black or they're redheaded or they're Hispanic. It does not matter. You guys are putting such an overemphasis on something that doesn't matter, where you're literally bringing back racism by making it a thing because you're so harshly trying to avoid bringing any white people into the equation. And you're literally just essentially quietly shaming all of the white people. Ah, you bad white people. Ah, you bad white people. Fuck you. I didn't ask you to fucking shame me. Nobody asked you to shame anybody. None of the black people asked you to shame anybody. None of the Spanish people asked you to shame anybody. I have plenty of black friends and plenty of Hispanic friends and plenty of women friends and whatever other friends down the line, gay friends on the LGBTQ spectrum who don't agree with this. Okay? We don't agree with this. My friends don't agree with this, and they're all different colors. My friends don't agree with this, and they got all different shit hanging between their leg and all different things going between their brain about how we're supposed to do this. This list, and I'm going to keep going down, like this whole freaking thing that I'm here to tell you today, everything on this list is proof that they're wrong. They're wrong, and the majority is telling them so. So at 11, we got The Marvels, the biggest box office bomb to date for Marvel. They have canceled and put on hold everything. They are reshooting Captain America 4. They've got all their major Disney Plus shows on hold. Echo, Agatha, Ironheart on hold. They don't want to, they're scared to put anything else out. They see what's happening here. My number 10 is Star Wars and Marvel viewership collapses on Disney+. Yep, between She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, which just wrapped up with much lower viewership than previous, but Loki Season 2 did okay, has some promise, but the viewers are not there. The viewership collapsed for Secret Invasion, collapsed halfway through She-Hulk, and Loki Season 2 has not done particularly well. People have tuned in for Tom Hiddleston. We like Tom Hiddleston. We like Owen Wilson. There's some good actors on there. The great dude from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't want to mispronounce his name. The kid from the Goonies. Awesome. There's some great actors in that show. Some of the show's really good. If it wasn't called Loki, I'd like it a lot. But that's not all. It's not just the last 3 Marvel television shows. Not to mention the 3 that I mentioned that haven't been released yet because they know they're doing so bad. Or the Daredevil show that hasn't been released. It's being redone and reshot because they saw it and they looked at it and they went, this is terrible. Or how about Mando Season 3, Andor, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, and finally Ahsoka. They've tanked the Star Wars brand. They turned Star Wars into a TV show, to a bunch of TV shows, and they even collapsed that. It's just insane. I mean, Secret Invasion's a really funny one to talk about here too, because that one's a continual repudiation of Captain Marvel. He's dealing with Skrulls and the whole Kree thing, all this stuff that started in Captain Marvel. We didn't like those stories then. We don't like those stories now. You called it Secret Invasion. It's not Secret Invasion. You've adapted a story from the comics that you couldn't adapt in the films because you didn't have all the pieces on the table. How about She-Hulk? You didn't even adapt that character. You didn't get that character right. You screwed up that character completely. Loki season 1 and season 2. Loki has never done any of these things. He has nothing to do with the Time Various Authority. Mando season 3. We've brought Grogu to train with Luke. Now he's back already. We didn't even see that happen because it happened at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, which were the only 2 good episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, which was awful. Or how about Andor, which was great, but nobody watched it because you guys have not been good handlers of this intellectual property, and people don't trust you anymore, and they weren't interested. Or how about Obi-Wan, which plenty of people started watching but didn't finish watching? Or how about Ahsoka, which nobody bothered to watch because Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Mando Season 3, and others had been so disappointing to them that they were like, all right, I think I'm good. I'm good. The viewership of these shows is collapsing. They don't know what to do now. I can guarantee you, Mando Season 4, if they go forward with the rumors about handing the show off to Katie Sackhoff and things like that. Andor Season 2. I mean, Andor Season 2. How many more people are going to watch Andor Season 2 than watched Andor Season 1? I mean, if people are really freaking out about how good it is, maybe some more people will come in. And I really liked Andor. I was freaking out about how good the first season was. But people weren't digging that. It was very hard to get people to check it out. I don't think there's any answer that makes people go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go check it out now. All of these shows, I mean, with Star Wars, I mean, as you get to Ahsoka, they're honoring a bunch of TV shows. They didn't begin to friggin' explain these things enough to make it really work and make the transition work. I like a lot of those TV shows. But like Obi-Wan, we're bringing in Hayden Christensen. He's on Ahsoka too. We're going into the prequel series, and people have a lot of nostalgia for that. There's a lot of people who are younger than me who grew up on those movies, and for them, that's Star Wars, and like that really means a lot to them. Where is this audience? Where are they going? Or have they watched and have they decided that they don't really like it? I think that's the case. I think the case is Star Wars and Marvel, as done on Disney Plus television, has been rejected uniformly by its audience. And I mean, seriously, if you want to go in here, I got numbers for some things on this list and like certain bits here or there for you guys to check out. But like, just go investigate. Go look at She-Hulk's ratings and rankings. Like, what is it being voted on by the audience? What is it out of 10? What's the score? What's the percents? What's the Rotten Tomato? And how many people actually saw it? Oh my God. I mean, I should really put Miss Marvel on the list too, because nobody watched it. And that's just like Andor. Just nobody watched Miss Marvel, even though it was apparently pretty good. So you guys are like backwards here. All right, at number 9, Disney animation and live action films collapse at the box office, including Strange World, which is a weird Disney animation movie that seems like it's a Pixar animation movie, but it's not. And I mean, I didn't hate Strange World or anything, but I can't say it's incredible. Can't say it changed my life in any way, that I left singing its praises and was super excited about it. And that is something that somebody like me does when I leave one of these Disney animated classics, or at least I used to. Not anymore. The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid went on worldwide to make some money, but still, it got people thinking, and it got people talking, and it got the conversation going, and it demonstrated people are not a fan. People don't like all these live-action remakes where they're changing this and they're changing that, and they're changing so much of the soul of the thing that they liked. So they're being advertised the thing that they like, but what they're getting isn't exactly the thing that they like. It's some new version of the thing that they like that's been given this new coat of paint for arbitrary reasons. Again, I've said this a million times. Like, it's not that the audience is racist against a black mermaid. Like, we don't care about that. I hate it when people say, "Oh man, are people really upset that like the mermaid in the movie about a magical lady who loses her voice and sings with all these magic creatures? They care. The magical thing is different color than it used to be." That is a quote from an asshole who doesn't care about books, movies, anything. That asshole doesn't care about things. So they're sitting there making fun of people who care about things, going, you guys care about like things? Like, what are you doing? Are you caring about all these things? That's so stupid. You care? Yeah, we care. We're the ones who buy the tickets. We're the ones who buy the merch. We go to places. We do things. We care about things. You're busy trying to fuck your boss or whoever the fuck it is. You're trying to go have sex with somebody or make money or do something that you think is superficially more important than reading something that can affect you profoundly and move you deeply, experiencing a character or relationships that inspire you or make you think about yourself and help you grow in your own life. There are some people on planet Earth who think that that is more important than who you're banging or how much money you're making or what job or what prestigious position you're in. There are plenty of people like that. And those people, I'm never going to convince of anything. Those people aren't listening to this show right now. But those people are fucking commenting on Twitter as if their opinion matters. And it doesn't. Their opinion does not matter. Motherfuckers, we choose this stuff for you. We are the ones who are responsible for making sure that your entertainment when it comes to you is great. Because we are paying attention and we care. Just because you don't care doesn't mean you're right. People who don't care are not right. And people who don't care, their advice will never solve the problem of why aren't people caring about this like they used to. You want to solve that problem? It comes with caring about the stuff. It comes with thinking about it differently than you did yesterday. And people care. People care about the Little Mermaid. We have already linked in to this red-headed, I'm trying to describe the color of her fin, but like what she looks like, her colors, like her skin color, her fin color, her hair color, all these things are imprinted in our mind. When we see that combination of things in a person in real life, if I saw somebody wearing a purple shirt with red hair and lightish skin and blue eyes, I'd be like, hey, it's Ariel. It's the Little Mermaid. There she is. This is how cosplaying works. You show up at the con, people go, "Ooh, I know who she is. She's Little Mermaid." Why? Because she looks exactly like the Little Mermaid. She looks exactly like it. Oh my God. How do you succeed being a cosplayer? You look as identical to the thing as you possibly can. You look as authentically the thing as you can be. And if you have authentically become the thing, you win. What is it when these fucking studios have an opportunity to make somebody authentically the thing and they throw that opportunity away? No, we don't need that opportunity to make... You are more capable of authentically producing the thing than cosplayers are. Freaking Hollywood is more capable of authentically reproducing the thing that we like than cosplayers are. But they don't. What the fuck? Do you see how many hits authentic cosplayers get on Instagram? You want to get that many hits on your movie or your TV show? Make the shit look like the thing we like. It's that simple. It's so fucking insane that I have to even say it like this, and like it's shocking to people. What? Really? What? Come on, it's not a big deal that we took the person and we made her into a black person. She doesn't look the same anymore. You're hung up on racism. It's not about racism. It's about how does it look? Oh, that's the thing that I like. I recognize it. Here it is. This is my house. It's what it looks like. You come to your house. It's been painted a different color. That's not my house. I don't know. I'm going to have to get used to this. Perhaps it will be just the same experience as it was before. But I don't know that it's the same experience it was before. I was really excited about the experience I was having. You decided to change it for no fucking reason. And now, I don't know anymore. Okay, I guess. Well, we'll see. Don't do that. Why do that? Why take that fucking risk with your business? What a stupid fucking move it is. It's just the most ridiculous thing. In the name of diversity and inclusion, new characters, diversity, inclusion. You need a boyfriend who's great. Come up with a new name, introduce us to a new character. That actress could probably sell us on that character, and then we'll be like, man, I hope they add that character to the comic books because we loved her so much. But don't just make an arbitrary character who's an arbitrary color. Make a character who loves your hero for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. Whatever it is, make them a counter to your hero. We like Lois Lane because she's so freaking hard and sort of masculine. And at the end of the day, Superman is kind of soft and sweet. And he's always kind of pulling the punch. And that's why we like those two people together as a dynamic. I like Evangeline Lilly's Wasp as a counter to Ant-Man because the Paul Rudd Ant-Man, he's, he is like a bit of a, his girlfriend being so badass and him being really into it and complimentary. Like that fits that character. They complement each other. Not every character should be like Evangeline Lilly's Wasp character is. She's a little one-dimensional. But for the sake of the Ant-Man movies, she really, really works. She works. And I mean, like, all of this stuff can work. It can all work. Continuing down the list for this is just Disney animation and live action movies that have collapsed at the box office. So we've got Disney animation Strange World, and Wish is right now. I think it's out this weekend, and it is not doing well. It is not going to do well. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody seems to know about it. I mean, that one's just going to be adding insult to injury. Granted, I'm going to try to go out and watch it because I love Disney animation and I want to see it, and I'm sure it's probably better than people are saying. But you change attitudes. You change hearts and minds. There's a lot of different things that we could enjoy. Yeah, sure, we could enjoy that. But we would prefer to enjoy the thing that we'd like to enjoy. And if you change it too much in ways that you didn't have to change it, the audience is going to start to go, but why? Why do I have to enjoy this in this way? I don't want to. I wanted to enjoy it in that other way. Also in the live action front, we've got the Haunted Mansion, continuing the movies made after rides. I've actually been enjoying. I watched Haunted Mansion kind of in the background the other day, and I was enjoying it, and I've been meaning to put it on again to watch it a second time. There's a lot of aspects of it that I think were very foolish and stupid on their part that presented it as a thing that I don't think people were particularly interested in. And I mean, that's really the way it was presented, I think, was the failure for Haunted Mansion. Again, it's not that it's that bad, but it's the conversation you're having with your audience. And these little changes can be very major. And your audience, your core audience, has been going, that little change is a problem. That's going to fucking bite you in the ass. Don't do that. You really need to rethink these things. And we keep getting shouted down. We keep getting, oh yeah, don't listen to these racist, sexist folks. Nah, man. We're looking at the thing. We know and we understand what your business model is. We know who your core audience is. And we're telling you, change this thing too much, and it's going to blow up in your face. Also, Elemental was a similar thing to Little Mermaid. It legged out, as they say, pretty good, and it went on to make a decent amount of money, but it did so poorly initially that it led to a lot of conversations, a lot of changes. It was announced all of a sudden that Pixar won't be making any original material anymore. It's going to be all focused on sequels, and that announcement came on the heels of Elemental seemingly struggling at the box office. I mean, this is all great. We've been telling them that these live-action remakes and these strange animation that doesn't actually feel like Disney animation, or Haunted Mansion, this like throw a whole bunch of celebrities at it, plus it's got the name of the ride. Like, that's not it. That's not the authentic thing that we're looking for. I think there's a lot of things about Haunted Mansion to like, but it does not create. It does not create a world that anybody wants to go to. And that's the biggest thing. All these properties that you've bought, all these properties that you've created or remaking The Little Mermaid, they create a world that we want to go to. You change that world too much, our interest in going to that world goes away. Okay? All of these movies in general, even those that have legged out well, has shown a crescendo of less viewers because the amount of money they're making is on the backs of less ticket buyers. Also, less money because they're actually only profiting on less ticket buyers, so they're making less money, especially because they're spending more money. Their budgets are ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. Go look at the budgets from the recent, past 5 years to even movies 10 years ago, and you're going to see, and granted, a lot of it is inflation, a lot of it, not all of it, not even close to all of it. And this is in the studio system, which I know, money is stolen. Like the bigger the budgets get, the easier it is to rob the production. These producers, they take money. They take money out of the production from all sides. Like this is the scam that has been going on in Hollywood for forever. And it's why the budgets keep ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. And the bigger a company Disney becomes, the bigger they become in terms of being like a suck on the system, and the people who are working for them being a suck on the system. They've got all these budgets and they keep ballooning them up, and that money just disappears. You see a movie that's made for $100 million versus a movie that's made for $250 million, and you'll see sometimes the quality of the $100 million is insane, and you're like, well, how the hell did this $250 million not do anything? Well, those people were disappearing money from the production. This $100 million, most of that $100 million actually went into the production of this film. That's the difference. The studio has shown that, or I should say, the studio's failure with all of these different films has shown that their remake formula is not a successful one. And merchandise sales of their remake formula demonstrate strongest that it's not a success. They have a harder time selling these toys. Again, it's not because it's Little Mermaid's black. It's because Little Mermaid's different. Princess and the Frog. We could go sell some Princess and the Frog toys. I love Princess and the Frog. That's inclusion. That's inclusion done right. Here you go. Here's a new movie. We had a great character. This is her backstory. Here's how she is and why she looks like she looks and all these different things. And we got it. We're in it. Great. We got ourselves our first black princess. Cool. Give us more. We're down for that. But the remake thing, we're not into it. We don't want Princess Tiana to be a white woman when you remake Princess and the Frog. I hope she looks as close and gets the character as best as possible. I hope they nail the Shadow Man. I want Keith David's character of the Shadow Man in the Princess and the Frog movie to just be nailed. If you're going to remake these things, nail it. Don't fucking change it. I don't want my black characters white. I don't want my Asian characters white. I don't want any characters white who is not supposed to be white, who was not created in that image. And I don't want any characters black who are not supposed to be black. If that's the idea, that's who the character is, and there was a reason for it in the first place of why the inspiration came from this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Honor that. Whatever it is, just honor it. All right? At number 8, we have Star Wars merch craters. Now, it's not just Star Wars merch that's cratering, but Star Wars is some of the stuff that I actually have the numbers for. Star Wars is apparently down 65%. These exact numbers or whatever, these are numbers coming from their leakers within the toy company. They also said that all years combined of modern Star Wars cannot compete with the single best years that Kenner had put out from ages ago when Star Wars was owned by George Lucas and he had all of the merchandising rights. Overall, there's a 40% loss of shelf space for Disney, period. Okay? I don't have the Marvel numbers, but I can tell you from observing, oh yeah, things are falling off. Wakanda Forever line of Marvel Legends and the the Eternals line of Marvel Legends and the Marvels. I do not believe they are sitting there. And associated merchandise and a lot of the merchandise for things that were selling, like let's say Thor or whatever. Well, Thor Love and Thunder merch didn't do so good. And Spider-Man definitely got a little bit of a pluck here, but Spider-Man tends to be good, like evergreen all the time. And it seems like a lot of those things aren't selling as well. And Star Wars merch across the board. I mean, they pushed Baby Yoda so fucking hard. They even forced him back into the 3rd season of The Mandalorian because they didn't want him off the table because they wanted to be able to sell that merch. And you see the extra material, but it's just sitting there. Nobody's buying it. Everybody already got the thing. We were like a little excited about Baby Yoda. And then they milked it to no end. And now, what? We don't fucking care anymore. We don't care. All right, Star Wars and merch in general, down 65%. That proves the fans right. These television shows collapsing proves the fans right. These films, box office collapsing proves the fans right. The Marvels proves the fans right. You want to know another thing that proves the fans right? The fans have been trying to tell you that the market for comic books is collapsing, that politics that are being injected into all of the books across the board, gender swapping and reveals of different sexuality than characters that have had for ages and ages and ages, that this stuff was not going over well. And in general, the modern comics landscape was just crashing. Well, IDW crashed. It's one of the largest publishers in the second tier of comic book publishing, and they hold some of the biggest licenses in comics. The publishing company has obtained licenses to publish Dungeons & Dragons, Star Trek, Godzilla, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Sonic the Hedgehog, and many others. I think they had G.I. Joe and Transformers before recently Robert Kirkman took them over. On January 19th, hold on a second. On January 19th, IDW Media Holdings released its fiscal Q4 earnings for 2022. And I pulled this from, I think Bounding Into Comics was the one that came up when I was searching for an article about this. With a year end of October 31st, in this period, IDW Publishing suffered a $1.6 million loss, which added to a lesser losses in prior quarters of a total of $1.9 million loss for the fiscal year. This marks the second year in a row IDW Publishing has taken major losses, with a $0.8 million loss reported on their 2021 financial reports. The drop is largely due to declining sales, but there are also a major increase in printing costs due to paper shortages this year, which has been reported industry-wide. The company seems to have kept afloat by licensing from its entertainment division, primarily derived from streaming shows of Lock and Key, as well as Surfside Girls. According to their last report, IDW has about $10 million in cash, but they were already warning investors that they may need to raise another $10 million to stave off bankruptcy in the next couple of years. There has been reports come out of IDW that they had people there who was using the IDW accounts like a piggy bank, and they were spending IDW money, and that's part of the reason why they've been losing money. The main business model for most companies that end up with large financial backing is to throw money at all the problems. Money, 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 money. We will help you buy this license, and we'll help you get this thing, and we'll help you get this thing, and you're going to operate under a loss for years and years and years and years and years and years, but at the end of the day, you're going to come out of this ahead of Dark Horse, because Dark Horse won't have all the money that we're going to throw at you, IDW. So IDW has had the we're going to throw money at you business model, and of course, when money is thrown at the thing, people steal the money, and the money goes missing, and so many different things, and stuff doesn't actually happen. Just buying a whole bunch of the biggest licenses, but not actually handling them well, and making things that people just love to death forever and ever and ever. I mean, obviously, IDW have had some hits here or there. You know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was being pretty successful, and then that just kind of, just like this, it was like, and it's gone. But I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, they've been playing these games with their audience. And I have unfortunately not heard just a lot of just people going, oh man, mind blown from all the things that IDW has been doing. Clearly, they're doing some things right, because look at the license they have, and look at the size of their company, look how many books they publish and stuff. But it's just all a show. It's all a game. It's like all these studios with all their streaming services where they've been dumping so much money into it and putting out so many programs, but 99.9999% of these shows fail, and nobody ever sees them. Nobody sees these shows. Period. Nobody sees these books. Nobody's reading their licensed books. I mean, some. Not a lot. The proof's in the pudding, man. And this list, this is just the beginning, dude, because they have been ignoring the fandom for years and years now. And there is going to be so many more instances of proof coming. Echo, Ironheart, Agatha Harkness, The Acolyte, when they put out this freaking Star Wars show, Wish, the animated series, the next Pixar film that's coming out, I forget the name of it now, sequel to Inside Out. I mean, maybe a sequel to Inside Out would be great. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I love Inside Out. But there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more big losses like this that prove that what the fans have been saying is true. It's the truth. We have been speaking on behalf of the mainstream, and you guys have tried to marginalize our voice and boil it down to, this is just the people who are nerds who really care, and they're just weirdos, and we're going to get everybody else. They're going to love what we're doing with Star Wars. At number 6, I say Star Wars Skywalker, being universally panned by everyone proving all of the fans who said that there was nowhere to go from The Last Jedi correct. All right, I know everybody likes to argue about The Last Jedi. Was The Last Jedi good? Was The Last Jedi bad? The correct answer is The Last Jedi was bad, because it doesn't matter what it did well. It was the middle part of a trilogy, and everything that it did well didn't service the trilogy. So when they came back to make the third movie, they threw out everything that made Last Jedi work well. I mean, granted, I could have done a fucking better job with Rise of Skywalker, because I would have taken some of the good elements from The Last Jedi and I would have carried them over. And there was some ways to do that. At the same time, though, in general, we were always going to be looking at some sort of strange film. And this was what so many of the fans of Star Wars were saying when we saw The Last Jedi. And you guys misunderstood us, and you guys called us sexist and racist and all these stupid things. But we were trying to tell you, this is the middle of a trilogy. The story's been taken into all different places than it was initially intended to go. This second film literally walks back and repudiates multiple things from the first film. And now the third film has to go and repudiate things from the second film in order to bring us back to center to get us to the end. This was the last Star Wars movie at the box office because of how bad it did and how it proved everything the fans who were really paying attention were saying about the story they were telling, about the clearly piss-poor plan or lack of a plan that they had for this Star Wars universe, for the future of the Star Wars universe. The missed opportunity to make frickin' Leia and Luke and Han in a scene together, like to bring, I mean, it's just such simple nostalgia. And I don't like to encourage this simple nostalgia shit because you guys totally do the nostalgia. You're like, oh, look, member berries. I remember. Like that stupid thing of like, look, we gave Chewie a medal. Like, guys, that wasn't that important. That wasn't important. That was just like a minor thing that people are talking about because they love this thing so much and they like to talk about the thing. And you didn't do it in a great way. You didn't do it in a great way that made us all go, ah, ha, ha, that was satisfying, important, and it corrects the thing from history. No, you didn't do that. You did. Ugh. The way you guys do member berries and like, oh, remember this? Like just, oh, God, stop it right now. Again, you need to get people in here who really love and appreciate this shit so they can prevent you from making these like small gestures to fans that literally just make you look stupid. They make you look like you don't know what you're doing. You don't actually really care for what you're doing. You don't care for the products. So how could you know any better? Of course they're going to keep being awful like this. You guys have no fucking clue. You have demonstrated to the fans you have no fucking clue. So we don't trust you. Number 5, South Park, the Panderverse episode, which made it okay to say what the fans have been ridiculing and saying for literal, like a decade now. Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, like seriously, you want to boil down like masculinity to like to a point, like the thing of like, it's not that you're putting these women into the movie. It's that you're really forcing upon us very lame women who don't work very hard, who don't fight and grow and overcome. They're like these women who are these boss bitches who know everything already and do everything right all the time and don't have to learn anything and blah. Dude, that's not reality. Reality is, it doesn't matter if you're a man, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, you got things to learn. You've got lessons to go through. Things are going to be hard sometimes. It's going to be rough. If I'm sitting there and I'm watching the movie of your life, at a certain point, it's going to be so rough that I'm going to start cheering you on. Because I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, this is so rough. This is so rough. This is so rough for this person. I want to see them succeed. But you don't put in the women that we want to see succeed. You put in these really lame women who might actually be going after the same women that we're going after. They might, not only are they lame, but they're also gay. So it's like that girl from the fucking okay, it's a great movie, it's a new movie. it's the Zac Efron and the guy from Workaholics. They're brothers, and they have to bring wedding dates to their wedding, and they end up picking these two women who are just, they're the pits. They're the pits. They're no good. But anyway, the workaholic guy, he has a cousin who's a rival of him. And this is played perfectly here because this lame and gay chick, she's not there to be celebrated as divinity of womanhood. She's there to be made fun of because she's lame and she's gay. But she's like a dick. She's really a not a cool character. And she's being played that way for laughs and for drama and all these things. So when she does something, you're like, oh, that wasn't cool. He's going to get her back. Like the audience knows that we're like playing a game with this girl antagonizing this guy. Now, when you're doing the lame and gay chick thing, you're not doing that. You don't know that your audience is being antagonized by this character and wants to see her put through something. Put this person through some fucking paces. Make them earn their friggin' place in this movie. What the hell are they doing here? I don't like them. They haven't done anything of note. They're just here and they're queer and they've owned everything. Everything is theirs. Everything is good. Like, dude, you're doing your gay characters a disservice this way. You know, it doesn't mean anything for a character to be gay. It doesn't mean anything. Man and women, gay, that is a whole other shebang. That is, who is this person hunting and looking for in their romantic life? Are we writing a romantic story? Or are we writing an action story about superheroes, about guys who use lightsabers and good and evil? That's what geek culture stuff is about. It's about good and evil. It's not about who you're fucking. It's not about who you're fucking. South Park boiled it down to one simple phrase. Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. But there's a lot of ways that this similar sort of thing is being done, where things are being forced, and they're being forced in a way that seems very unnatural. And is very hard for the audience to stomach because of the unnatural nature of the way it's being done. And I mean, seriously, just there's so many examples of how your audience isn't racist, from Blade and Miles Morales Spider-Man. And there's so many examples of how your audience isn't sexist, from Ahsoka. I know the new series didn't do well, but that's because the audience lost faith in you, not because we don't like Ahsoka. You know, who was the other character that I was going to say that I loved? Sorry, there was a particular character in mind who I wanted to name. I was saying Ahsoka. Whatever. Princess Leia. She-Hulk. I love She-Hulk. We love Black Widow. We like that Kate Bishop Hawkeye. You're like, there's plenty of good characters that can be done. Like, you know, like you're doing good things. The problem with like that Hawkeye show was Echo. She's like butch, and she's not soft, and she's not sweet, and she's not attractive in that wonderful way that she was in the comics. She was very attractive as a character. Like, and I don't mean attractive like, oh my God, she's so hot. Like, she was attractive because she had a softness about her, and the her living in the world, like the artist kept putting you in her space. They were putting you in a world where she couldn't hear anything. And they were kind of depicting that in various ways. But they lost that. They didn't do those things. Like, you can't just one size fits all these women. You can't one size fits all these other races. They're black isn't enough of a character thing. And I talked about this recently the other day. At a certain point in the 90s or whatever, when like they were trying to make things more diverse, and all of a sudden, every group of boys that you saw, it would be like, the leader is a white guy, and then he's got his black friend and his Hispanic friend and maybe an Indian friend, or like whatever it was. It's like, here's this group of diverse children, you know, and every group was diverse children. And something that started to happen there, which was a joke that, you know, for all my black friends would start to make of like, just like, oh, he's black. Like, that's his character is he's black. His character is his ethnicity. When they were all white, we were like, well, they're all same character because they're all white, so we better make them all uniquely different. If one of the characters is white, and one of the characters is black, and one of the characters is Hispanic, and one of the characters is Indian, they are all the same character. They are all humans. You need to give them all each individual things to do to make them unique. That is reverse racism. That is diversity and inclusion. That's not what we have right now. We have like a compulsory system where people are doing a thing because they've been told that they have to, and they have to do it in this way. They're not doing it because they think it's right and because it organically comes from the story and from all these things. It's not. It's not how it's happening. It's so ridiculous that we've been pointing this out for years now, and it's only become, in the past couple months, really acceptable to say. And granted, you know what? That's not true, because I was on Twitter and I've been talking about these things. My show's been around now for 6 months, and I really haven't gotten a single bad word said about me from anybody. Nobody has reached out to me and been like, Jesse, you're a dick, and I hate the way you talk about these things, and you're racist, and nobody, not one. And some of that, I think, is that the temperature is changing. I also think that I'm probably I hope I'm talking about it in a way that is easier to take the right points from. I hope that when I talk about these things, it's easy to come away with the actual reality of why they're not succeeding, as opposed to this false reality that they keep kind of trying to tell us it is, about how wrong and how bad we all are. And that's not it. They're mishandling this stuff. They're mishandling this material. And all of this list proves it. All right. So let's see. Getting into my top 5 here. Oh, no, sorry, my top 4. We just did the Pandaverse episode. Number 4, Rings of Power flops for Amazon, with only 37% of those who watched the premiere continuing on to the finale. Okay. Now, why this is so significant, too, is because of how much money Lord of the Rings, this Rings of Power, like Jeff Bezos, he literally went, I want my own Game of Thrones. I don't care how much it costs. Go get me the thing. And they spent insane amounts of money. Oops, sorry, bless me. They spent insane amounts of money to make Rings of Power a thing. And they did such a bad job. They played the social politicking game, but also played a game of just tone deafness with the script and with the characters and with Lady Galadriel. You've got a character who's a peaceful, feminine, wonderful elf lady, and she's warrior elf woman, and she's just hyper masculine. This isn't the character. The character's not depicted like this in the books. This isn't who she is. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It's stupid when you make up your own shit because. Stop it. You literally turn this into the boss bitch Galadriel show. And that's one of the main reasons why it doesn't work and nobody likes it. She's married. Where's her husband? You wrote him out because you didn't want to deal with that. These are the kind of decisions, like fans of the books, we know these things about the character. This is how we remember the character. We remember characters more easily based on their associations. I can name 60 different characters who are from the X-Men. And so much of my association with them is because they're on the X-Men. It'd be harder for me to remember some of these characters if they were from teams that I didn't really know about, and maybe somebody told me this name of this character, that name of that character. It's the associations that all these things have with one another that bring them together. So your main character, your Galadriel character, you fundamentally just do whatever you want to do to make a show that you'd like to make. It's tone deaf. Pretty positive they fired their Tolkien scholar at a certain point in the proceedings there too. And they hired all these fucking influencers who are complete money-driven influencers. People who will be your influencer because they're cute and they look this way or that way or whatever other way. And they'll talk about your thing and how much they love your thing and try to bring attention to your thing because there's some superficial person who people are following because they people think they're cute or whatever the fuck it is. And well, that's what you get, man. Bunch of superficial people who didn't understand the thing, didn't actually care about the thing, came out and said all nice things about your thing. Everybody who understood the thing recognized that those were not the droids that we were looking for. Those were not the people who were going to give us our taste or help us to figure out whether or not we wanted to watch something. You chose wrong. And Rings of Power. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment for them. What a great thing to celebrate. Celebration. Celebrate good time. Come on. They're just they're just fucking it up so bad. Okay, at number 3, the Snyder Cut is shown to audiences on HBO Max and proves what we all knew. Studio notes are a huge part of the problem with DC on film and plenty of other studios as well, demonstrating that the real problem within this process are the executives in charge. The first movie, the Justice League, that was released after Joss Whedon went in and did a whole bunch of little corrections as Zack Snyder and his wife mourning the loss of one of their children. It was a 39% critic score and a 67% audience score. 67% audience score. Now, that's not a terrible audience score. That means, like, audience is like, okay, all right. But the critics were like, this movie fucking sucks. Well, guess what? The Zack Snyder cut of the movie, it got a 72% critic score and a 93% audience score. 93% of the audiences liked it. Granted, it's the length of like 4 fucking movies. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why this thing's just not tenable. And if Snyder's literally handing in a 3-hour movie to them, you understand why they might cut that thing down to something shorter. And I mean, and I don't know if he's not cooperating either. You know, sometimes some of these filmmakers, they're like, no, I got my vision of the film and it's this. And they're like, dude, no family wants to go see 3 hours of the Justice League. We were hoping for an hour and a half. Unless it's really, really, really good. And I mean, the Snyder Cut is good. I wouldn't say it's really, really, really good. It's definitely a little slow. It's definitely fucking long. There's a lot to like. It's much better than the Justice League we got in theaters. It demonstrated that Suicide Squad movie that we got in theaters had probably been edited to shit the way David Ayer said it was. It represented that. And we know this because we saw the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman. That was far superior than the original Batman vs. Superman that we got in theaters. The studios have been tinkering with the thing, oftentimes to less than stellar results. And the Snyder Cut is even bigger than that, like as a victory, because, you know, this was a fandom. And granted, we know now that a lot of it was bots, and, you know, whether this was a very clever move on Zack Snyder's part, which it might have been, because it wouldn't take that much money of somebody who's got money like Zack Snyder to, you know, hire some people, hire some bots to just keep annoying DC about this thing until something happened. And it worked. It fucking worked. It's great inspiration to me and other people on planet Earth. They pushed and they pushed and they pushed. And what were they really pushing for? They were pushing back against the creative corruption that had gone on, that had ruined his movie. I'm sure that freaking Zach felt fucking pissed off. I'm sure he was embarrassed by the thing that got released there. He filmed that. He made that. He makes great stuff. He makes really beautiful movies. You know, I'm not a fan of Man of Steel. It's a beautiful movie. I don't like it, though, because it's Superman. It's a Superman movie. It's supposed to represent Superman, and I have a deep love for Superman, and it's because of the opposite of what that movie demonstrates. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't like that movie, even though it's a very well-made movie. Same thing with Batman Superman. The director's cut, at least, is a very well-made movie. But go look at his movies. I mean, for the most part, I mean, Sucker Punch I don't remember very well. You know, it was very pretty, but his Dawn of the Dead was fucking great. And he's made a bunch of movies for Netflix now that are really great. He's a great filmmaker. Granted, I don't want you being a great filmmaker to supersede the fact that this is already a great intellectual property, and you don't need to affect it too much in order for it to be awesome. And I feel like people who don't know that that's true, they just don't know the material well enough. But I'm here to tell you, it's good. Look at enough of it, read enough of it. There's very little that you have to really bring to the table besides an honoring of that material. All right, we're getting down to the last two. For me, this is a big one. I fucking love this. Number 2, Henry Cavill leaves The Witcher of his own accord, proving what all of us who liked the show knew, that they were squeezing him out of his own show. Fans, they weren't happy, and neither was the actor who played the character, who was a fan himself. And diplomatically, he stated at the time, quote, "My journey as Geralt of Rivia has been filled with both monsters and adventures, and alas, I will be laying down my medallion and my swords for season 4. I don't remember what article I got this from. This wasn't bad. I got comments from somewhere else. But it had been rumored that Henry and showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hirsch had creative differences on the show. Before season 2 came out, Henry said in an interview with Philstar that he wanted Geralt to be more similar to the books that inspired the television show. And now, for those of you who were watching, season 2 of The Witcher was where people really started to be bothered about the show. Season 1 won them over, and season 2, really everybody started to scratch their heads and started to say things like this. Quote, this is what Henry says, "It's important for me to have the character be three-dimensional. And it's tricky to do, as I was saying earlier, because there's a certain vision and there's a certain set storyline and plot. And so it was about me trying to find Geralt's place within that. Find Geralt's place within that? Within the certain set storyline and plot? The certain set storyline and the plot of The Witcher is about The Witcher. But not on this show. Not anymore." Henry went on to say, "All of my asks and requests were along the lines of just being faithful to the source material." Clearly, him talking out in the press and these things, there seemed to be some animosity, and they seemed to double and triple down on these extended characters. You know, they made a whole show with all the extended characters from The Witcher, so everybody could go to watch that show to watch all these extended characters. The show's called The fucking Witcher. We were interested in the show because of The fucking Witcher. You freaking idiots. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Am I really hostile today? I don't know. I can't tell. I feel a little hostile today. I feel like I came in a little hot. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the show for today. I'm getting into my hour, and I've got my biggest one that I have to go back and share with you guys. But let me just wrap that up to say, Henry Cavill, he left The Witcher. He went, yo, man, I'm a fan, and this shit is shit. And instead of being here while the audience slowly leaves, I'm out. Oh, my God. Fuck yes. The masculinity. I love it, man. I've never had more respect for an actor in my entire life. Thank you, Henry Cavill. Thank you for doing that. I was tempted to make him number one, but I mean, really, at the end of the day, this shit, this is number one. And I mean, there's so much to say here, and this is all of the words of Gina Carano, who, after the South Park pandering episode aired, she made a tweet that was initially, and I'm going to read all these things, it was just basically initially just kind of giving kudos to South Park and going, that was fucking hysterical. But then, but expanding on a couple things, making a couple little comments. But then somebody commented and tried to like suggest she was crazy and was just like, oh, so-and-so is crazy kind of thing. And then Gina went off. And Gina said a ton of things that we knew and a ton of things that we did not know for sure, but we were pretty positive were happening. And this is my number one, the number one victory to celebrate, not just because it's a victory for the fandoms, but it was because of victory for Gina Carano herself, who got fucking screwed. Taken off of the Twitter platform. For people who don't actually know what she said and like what she got in trouble for, guys, she said nothing wrong. Nothing. She perhaps was making a bad analogy, but I don't think it's a bad analogy. I actually think it's a very appropriate analogy. She was talking about how the Holocaust happened because people were dehumanized to the point where other people didn't care what happened to them. That has been they've been attempting to do that. The Democrats have been attempting to do that to Republicans in America. They've been attempting to suggest things like we should be able to take the kids of a Republican family away from them for any number of reasons, or all these different things. Guys, you're out of your fucking minds. And Gina Carano, responding to these fucking crazy people, said, this is the type of thinking that led to the Holocaust. When you dehumanize an entire group of people to the point where you don't care what happens to them, and you believe that they should be forced into doing things that go against who they are. That is the scenario where a Holocaust can take place, where a group of Republicans can be rounded up. That could happen. If people decided that that was a thing that they wanted to do, that's how it happens. For the Holocaust, it was the Jews. But it could be Republicans, right-wing people. All you have to do is get enough of the public against a group, and then you persecute that group, and nobody stands up for you. What's the quote from the Holocaust? First they came from the candlestick makers, but I wasn't a candlestick maker, so I said nothing. And then they came for these people, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't one of them. And then they came for these people, and I didn't say anything because I was one of them. And then they came for me, and there was nobody else to speak up for me. So Gina Carano said, hey guys, this is literally the exact scenario that led to something like a Holocaust taking place on planet Earth. And instead of hearing the wisdom in her words, people said, how dare you compare the Holocaust to anything? Meanwhile, people are comparing Trump to Hitler, which is just hyperbolic. It's absurd. I don't care how much you don't like Donald Trump. He's not actually Hitler. Okay, we got to be realistic. He's not Hitler. He's not a great dude on a lot of levels. I'm not the hugest Trump fan, but he's not Hitler. And the moment we start to believe things like that, it lets us go down paths that are all wrong. So Gina, not only did she not say anything wrong, she said something right. And they canceled her for it. And it was fucked up. She should not have been canceled for her tweet. She should not have lost. She was one of the best things going on that show in The Mandalorian. And clearly, Kathleen Kennedy, this was all like a bit of politicking and her consolidating her power, not wanting Jon Favreau to be able to come in and take her power, all these things. So what did Gina Carano say after the South Park episode aired? She said, this is the part where KK, Kathleen Kennedy, demands any YouTubers get censored off of YouTube for sharing and laughing at this hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because of the ratio she'll receive. Then she'll have her publicist ghouls make sure Variety and Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about the South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has under her thumb who would sell their soul to work for Lucasfilm. She'll activate her online mob to repeat that the South Park creators are racist, bigot, transphobes, and demand the South Park creators publicly apologize by only using words she approves of. And finally, she'll demand they subject themselves to be re-educated, subject themselves to a re-education course of 45 people in the LGBTQ community Zoom call to sit there and listen to how badly they got their feelings hurt all over a little boop of a South Park episode. But maybe, just maybe, the jig is up. And oh yeah, she's right. Gina, you're right, baby. The jig is up. Now, somebody commented, tried to be like, oh, Gina Carano went crazy. And that is when we got to number one on the list. Because this is what Gina had to say after this stupid asshole tried to suggest she was crazy for venting her reasonable frustration over this situation, this political situation that lost her job in the Star Wars universe. Quote, do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more firsthand experience than you and says something you don't like or understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think? Tisk tisk. Curious if your overlords pay you, or do y'all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up their ass for free? I'm guessing for free. Might want to come out for some fresh air. For some added context, not just for you, but for the people reading, one of the things your overlords asked me to do was to unfollow certain accounts because they said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. That was a huge red flag for me. If I were the head of one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, I would know that haters come with the territory and that maybe the haters are expressing their thoughts because they actually care, and caring is a good thing because as long as they care, well, hey, we still have something to work with. Maybe we can win their hearts back eventually, and maybe they do have some good things to add to the conversation, which they do and did. And at the very least, they are still buying the product. Look at Mando Season 1. Boom. The healing had begun. If you are a proper good leader, you learn how to embrace and communicate, not dictate and silence, and demand your actors and directors unfollow and shame more than half of your fan base and the people who have stuck with the franchise for decades. Side note, don't say the Force is female and then allow only the men to express their political views online. In fact, just drop the ridiculous phrase completely. One of the problems your overlords are having now is that they've made a lot of people completely stop caring about one of the most beloved franchises in history, all by bullying, pushing, aggressive agendas, and trying to silence the people criticizing them. How are they able to tell stories they don't understand when the ones they identify with are the empire? They are literally trying to squash the little guys, the rebellion. No wonder the storytelling is struggling. They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong. And she didn't. She did nothing wrong. All to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. But yes men, unfortunately for you and them, do not drive culture. Maybe they were banking on the kids picking up the slack, but one of the best things about this franchise is passing it from generation to share. The competition is too high to throw out something as valuable as that. Why would one generation pass it on when you've disrespected and thrown them away? Your overlords try to hide behind the two opposing fan bases fighting each other instead of taking responsibility. So they encourage the hate, all while virtue signaling they are standing up for minorities, but instead using them as a shield and weapon. Funny enough, just how our government works. And she's right there. That's exactly how our government works. And I know exactly how our government works because I watched our geek fandom do the exact same thing. Everything that is happening in geek culture, everything that is happening in entertainment is the exact same tricks that are happening with our government on the regular news. Fox and these two opposing views. This is perfect. Keep on fighting, guys. Keep on fighting. Get off of the internet. I mean, get off of the TV. Get away from CNN. Get away from Fox. Get away from MSNBC. Go watch independent thinkers, independent voices, independent people. Go to the people. This is what they should have done for forever. Listen to the people. They think they know better. We live in a very ego-driven society, and the entertainment business is the tippy top, the head of that ego-driven snake. They really just don't fucking know any better because they're that proud and stupid. They think people will forget, and yes, maybe they will, but for this moment, they have heard the people's voice, and it shook them. They are choosing to stick with their weak leadership who couldn't handle YouTubers saying mean things online when all it would have taken is a true leader to step in, take the reins, take some responsibility, stop discriminating, apologize about the things that have been done wrong, step completely out of public, be truly inclusive, and they'd be back in business. Until then, they're stuck with you, the yes men, and their plummeting stock. I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts, but I am open-hearted and refuse to discriminate based off of powerful people telling me how to think and act. If there was something I needed to apologize for, I would have in a heartbeat. But I didn't say or do anything wrong. People come up to me daily to shake my hand and thank me for taking a stand, even people who think differently. One thing is true. Good leadership makes for a better world, leading to healthier and happier people and better opportunity. Look around. We are watching the devastating effects of what bad leadership can do worldwide. Thank you, Gina. Thank you. I would shake your hand too. I would tell you, thank you for taking a stand. Thank you for taking a stand right now. Thank you for putting that all out there in that way. And I'm getting all teared up because it's this bad leadership thing. It's so much more than just geek culture, man. It's this whole world. This whole world. And a lot of bad leadership. I like to daydream all the time. What could the world be like if good leadership rose up to take its place? If people like me finally decided, you know what? I can't really affect change in the entertainment world if the world itself is so fucked. We need to save this world. We need people like Gina Carano speaking out. We need all of the fandom speaking out. But it doesn't matter because as this list proves, they have ignored us for years and years and years. These are 11 times where it didn't matter that they ignored us. When Gina Carano called them out, somebody who was more powerful than we are. When Henry Cavill left The Witcher in protest of principle. When Zack Snyder forced his movie to get another freaking shot, to get the right cut, to show people what he really did for people. When Rings of Power tried to force all their fake fucking fans down our throat, and we sniffed them out immediately, sniffed out their show, sniffed out all their clever catchphrases and all the bullshit that they were doing and who they were hiring and why they were hiring, we figured it all out. And that fucking show just done. South Park, which is really just a harmony to what the fans have been saying for ages. There's so many great examples, but few of them come from a reasonable fan just saying, this doesn't work, and these are the reasons. They come from the studios getting egg on their face by making such terrible decisions that they can't not come away looking bad. And these are the best moments in geek culture because they are ignoring us. And our only answer is to help facilitate embarrassing moments. Is to hope and pray that they get so embarrassed for so long, and it has been for so long already, and they lose so much money from embarrassing themselves like this, that they either sell the material to other companies that will do better by it, or they change what they're doing because they cannot deny all of the egg on their fucking faces. That's it, guys. That's it, my coolest geeks. I am your passionate geek culture commentator, Jesse Blaze Snyder. I love you guys so much. You can write to me at jesseblaze@jessesnyder.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I really do. Also, if you're on the X, you can follow me. I'm Coolest Geek JBS. I have a brand new music podcast that just came out a couple days ago. It's called All Your Favorite Bands Suck with Jesse Blaze Snyder. There's a little introduction to the thing that just basically explains that it's a feature show featuring all my favorite bands. The bands that I think are not exactly getting as much attention as they deserve, at least by the mainstream. And the very first episode, which is a feature on one of my favorite bands of all time, The Offspring. I think really have a lot to offer and are one of the greatest bands of all time. So it's a greatest bands of all time show, essentially, even though it's called All Your Favorite Bands Suck. This is me being cute. But really cool. If you like music, please check it out. And I hope you enjoyed this show, and will join me again next Saturday, and join me again this Wednesday for another ass-kicking episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. I don't know what I'm doing yet for this Wednesday's episode because it's Thanksgiving and I'm chilling with my family, but I'm sure it'll be fucking awesome. Join me again because it's gonna be fucking awesome! Coolest Geek Alive! I love you guys. See ya. Thanks for letting me be manic and weird today on my show. Okay. You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snyder. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part! Isn't it heavy? I'll play that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living your shit. My voice is fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right or text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
You'll all see. The podcast playground. All right.